Welcome to Collecting Consciousness, where we aim to capture the ever-expanding and evolving conscious creations that originate from the minds of fellow podcasters, strangers, dear friends, and loved ones.
In this podcast, we will expand on our inner wisdom and a coming home to self. From our conscious minds to yours, we welcome you to the Collecting Consciousness.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Collecting Consciousness. And this is Bethany, and that is Courtney. And we have a really special guest today. We have Emily King here with us. And I am so excited to chat with her. Emily has recently come into my life in the last year or so. And I have learned a lot of really interesting and inspiring things about this really beautiful human. And so we're excited to have a chat with her about all those things. Emily is behind the YouTube channel and Instagram account, Where Is My Office Now? So that takes you on a journey, just in those accounts alone, through Emily's adventurous life and adventurous soul. Emily is a van lifer. I guess now you consider yourself an ex-van lifer.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. Which I feel like you maybe never divorce it completely. It's always like in your heart. But yeah, ex-van lifer, now mama, and a little bit more grounded. And so that's kind of like the nature of the conversation today, but I'm sure it's going to blossom into so many more beautiful things because she's about so much, so many other things that are so wonderful as well. So I think where I'd like to get started, Emily, is just, did van life find you or did you find it? How did that begin?
Yeah. Van life, how did it all happen?
Yeah.
It found me. I had no idea what it was. I had no idea what Instagram was. I had no idea people lived in vans. It was never like a dream that came from within when I was young or something like that. My ex-partner, Corey, and I were in Central America long ago. I think it was 2012. And we bumped into Foster Huntington, and he had this big Instagram following at the time and was probably the first person to bring van life to the masses via social media. And let's just be clear that people have been living in vans since vans have been around. Like, it's not a new thing, but he was like the first adopter of it on the social media sphere. And I had no idea who he was, and neither did Corey, but he said some really inspiring things about living in a van, and he thought that Corey and I would do really well in a van. But now that I am looking at it in hindsight, maybe he was being a little sarcastic. Like, oh, that'll be funny when they live in a van.
Yeah.
So he said that, and we're like, what is van life? And he talked about this thing called Instagram and sharing, and we got back to the States after our trip, and he had like really planted the seed, and we started thinking about possibilities in life and the fact that we hadn't seen our home country at all. We wanted to really explore America. And at the time I was working website development, and the technology was just there so that I could like take a leap and I could work remotely. It had like just moved into that realm of possibility. So it just like happened. The seed grew, and we got a van in 2013. And we hit the road, and we were on the road for 7 years.
Wow. So when we say van, let's just clarify for everybody what kind of van.
Gosh, it was 1987 VW Vanagon Westphalia. So one of those old VWs, not a bus, like the van. The engine is in the back, so it feels like you're like riding up, like floating through time and space. And so like nostalgic and like romantic of a vehicle to choose. And yeah, a white one, like just old. It had a lot of breakdowns along the way, and it taught me so many things about
A lot of heart.
Resilience.
Yeah. So as you started your journey, what were the first things that were coming to your mind of like, whoa, what is van life for you?
the first thing coming to mind was like, what am I doing? Like, I didn't grow up really camping at all. And we were sleeping in Walmart parking lots. We were out in the wilderness and national forest land. And I, yeah, at first it was like, whoa, like it took me a while to adapt and kind of build a sense of resilience with so much fluctuation, motion, and change and adventure happening. So there was this time of adaptation for me. And then I really like kind of got into the heart of it and started to share about the journey. And I knew I wanted to do that from the very beginning. So I was sharing all along the way, but there was like a sense of like really like feeling that anything was possible and nothing was guaranteed. And we were really embracing the unknown and manifesting our reality and stepping into our power as creators and using social media. So we were like some of the earlier influencers, like that was a new term coming up. Mm-hmm. And I just shared from my heart and was really vulnerable and talked about things like breaking down on the side of the road or peeing in a yogurt container or not shaving my legs and being cool with that. Yeah, which is funny because today I shaved my legs and I was thinking about while I was shaving how I didn't used to shave and I love that. And I sliced the skin off of my shin.
It's like if you didn't shave, you wouldn't have to experience this.
I was like, wait a second, maybe I'll go back to that.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, that sounds, it is a dreamy, like romanticizing, freeing, I feel like, way. And I just have like a funny backstory that I'm going to share because, simultaneously to Emily and your ex Corey being in your van adventure, my husband and I bought a Westphalia, and Jonah was like watching Emily and Corey. At the time, we had no idea who they were, but he was so inspired by you guys. Like we had so many conversations about doing the same thing that you guys did, like, and walking away from our home, this huge investment that we made, and being like, and we mapped it out in so many ways that every time boiled down to like, no, we can't do that, So it takes a lot of courage for you to totally step away from stability, or what is like quote unquote stability in this world, and to just totally live, nomadically and freely, and not knowing where the next step is going to be, maybe, but finding it. It's really an amazing thing that you embraced for 7 years. And I don't know, for people listening, like a Westphalia is not like a glamorous RV. Like it is, it's a glamorous van and it is super nostalgic, but it's not like tons of space. Not like you can really escape. You have to make your world the outside, a lot. So talk maybe a little bit about that, because I've gathered from your channel, like you guys really embraced like the outside nature elements. And if you want to just like expand on that.
The van life became this way for us to live our dream and follow our passions. And I know those are so oversaid, those words, but it was true. We were surfing, we were mountain biking, we were hiking, we were finding these places that really spoke to us, of natural beauty, like going to Sedona, Arizona, like so drawn to the red rocks there. Mm-hmm. And it was a van that was 80 square feet of living space. So when you're in that kind of living space with honestly anybody, your best friend, your mom, a stranger, like everything is magnified. Any blocks that come up in life, any blocks such as that we all have, that doubt, anxiety, like stress,
triggers,
anything comes up and it gets magnified there. So it's really important, if you're in a small space with somebody else, that you get time outdoors in nature to reset, to reflect, to reduce stress, to see clearly, and to connect with the local place, because a lifestyle of so much movement is really ungrounding. Like you don't have a sense of place continuously. So you have to create that continuity and that groundedness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. You talked about, being able to step into the unknown. And so I'm sure at first maybe was there resistance with, stepping into the unknown, or has it really, or did you kind of jump into it pretty freely?
That's a really good question. My mindset and my personality is kind of like go big or go home. I'm an Aries sun sign and I go all in, like full on. So for me, it was easy to do that. However, my body was like, hey, this is kind of different and a lot. And it took me, like I said, mentioned a little while to adapt and feel at home anywhere, at home within myself. And that is probably the greatest gift that van life gave me, was the ability to choose how I feel no matter what is going on outside of myself. So I really gathered, I had to, like, it's kind of survival, right? I gathered the tools that I needed to support my physical, mental, emotional, spiritual self.
Yeah.
And I feel like studying yoga and like Ayurveda and trial and error and experimental like things, and just showing up for myself every day, even though life was sometimes really chaotic and adventurous.
Right. It sounds like you truly it created a strong sense of self for you during that process.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure. It was a very like reflective time and connected to higher self. There was times I was feeling like I was being guided forward in my storytelling and in how I was showing up by a force outside of myself, or also within me, my higher self. And that was really like beautiful to be in that space so much. And I recognize now as a mother that I really had the gift of the freedom of time and location. Yeah. And I think the freedom, the term freedom for me has evolved, and it means something a little different now. And at that time, it was definitely the freedom of time and place. And it really was an inspiring, activating time.
Oh,
that's beautiful. A beautiful, yeah. I would love to expand on that concept of freedom. Like in this context, that all of us are choosing a path in life, and how does freedom, how does it present itself where you might feel like you're in a place of lack of freedom, but maybe you have that way of spinning it to where you've touched different textures of freedom within your journey. You know what I mean? So I don't know if you have a way of like, it's kind of expanding on that. Like now that you've been in different natures of freedom. Yeah.
Textures of freedom. I love
textures
that.
Of freedom.
Yeah, same. I like that too.
That was really beautifully spoken.
Thank you.
So what is freedom? To me now, freedom is the ability to choose how I feel.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then it was like, hey, I'm free. I can do what I want when I want. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. That is a part of freedom. That's a really wonderful thing to have. Yeah. But there are people who live in vans who are not doing it by choice. They're living the same lifestyle that I was living.
Right.
Were they free?
Right. Right.
It's a mindset, and it's the ability to say, hey, like, okay, this is what's happening today. I might have to do things that like I don't really want to do, or I might be in a position that I'm not completely content with, but like, can I actually create a sense of joy and ease if that's what I want? Like, can I actually feel good and happy here now? And like, what do I need to do for my mind and my body or what do I need to not do? My whole self, so that I can activate that like circuit through the nervous system, essentially.
I love that. It's kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool because you had mentioned earlier talking about like you are the creator of your life. So it is that freedom that you can make the choice to go, right, even in times of not wanting to do something or discomfort, you're choosing to do what makes you free, what you know is good for, stepping into your higher self. What is it that she needs today to make herself grounded, to make herself, so maybe she's going to go in wilderness and do that thing. Maybe she's going to go and shower somewhere that is going to give her that warmth, because I'm sure like those bare minimum things hit you so much deeper. So it's like the fact that I think, people struggle with the idea that we make choices that create our life, and we can create anything that we want. Yeah. And we have to reframe, we have to shift our mindsets, our stories, our old patterns. So I just really love that, you had mentioned you're creating your life. Mm-hmm. And creating life is truly a gift we can give ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I love looking at it through the cycles of creation, or the gunas in Sanskrit, the cycles of creation, preservation, and destruction. Mm-hmm. And we're continuously cycling through them, like on micro levels, and then macro, and like internally and externally. Mm-hmm. So the quicker that we can recognize like where we are at, the mm-hmm. quicker we can see like creation at play, and we can like play with it and like create a sense of groundedness if we need to, or like work with the elements through like yes. the food that we're intaking, or our daily patterns and habits. That comes down to like you said, the simple actions. There are so many actions we're taking every day, so many choices that we have every day, and it's really actually kind of simple.
Wow. I would
imagine I am still like, it's a process, because
it's the human experience. We're all yeah. duality, it's all very layered and complex, but I think truly when you are stepping up in a way that is serving your heart, serving, your purpose, things, like you said, you can play with it. You can play with the creation, because there's so many opportunities all around, and it's like picking the ones that light you up the most. I'd be interested to I'd be interested to hear about your child. You just have the one?
I have one, yes.
One. Yeah. So it's like, I'm sure, it's important for you to be sound in your body. It's important for you to, understand your body. So I'm sure your daughter's witnessing and watching that, and maybe doing the similar avenue like you.
I try to be like the best role model for my son. He's 3. He just turned
son story.
Totally. Okay. Yeah. He turned 3 last week. And I try to show up and like do my practices still. I think that's really important as a mother, and it looks different. Like I don't have the freedom of time and space like I did. I don't have 3 hours to hang out on a yoga mat and then like cook food for another 2 hours and take an hour to eat it. Like I don't do that. Don't have the time. Well, I do kind of have the time. I mean, I am a stay-at-home mother, so technically I could draw things out like that, but he needs me. So the practices are shorter, and they are more interrupted at times. He needs me sometimes, but I'm still trying to show up and block off time for myself. And I have these little sand timers like this. Oops, yeah. It's a little sand timer. This one is 1 hour. So I'm teaching my son what time is visually. And
cool.
He sees me showing up for myself. And it's cool because he begins to participate with me. So he will get on the yoga mat next to me and start moving and show me his moves. And he will meet me in the bathroom and oil his body. We did that 2 nights ago.
Hell yes.
Best me oil. And I didn't even say anything. I just do what I'm doing, and he looks, he does it. And he felt so good and nourished, and, he was very happy.
The gift of witnessing, like it literally, we just plant seeds. It's, showing up and doing the things that feel right for you, or, the people in your circle, that might light them up too. It might, show them something that they like. It's, wow, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. And we can keep our vibe high when we work to fill up our cup, right? So we can hold our own vibration. We have more soul stamina. Mm-hmm. And that means that we can help lift everybody else up.
Mm-hmm.
by
feel that.
simply being ourselves.
Yeah.
Totally. And I heard the other day, by not doing those things for yourself in front of your children, you're actually teaching them self-abandonment on a level at a very young age. Like you're teaching, like when you do nothing and you give to everyone, you're exemplifying to them like that you can abandon yourself. It's okay. Like you're not important.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful that you're teaching in a super organic way. And that's how it should be. We should take the time to make the tea for ourselves and sit down and drink it like we would prior to, because that's teaching them like this time is sacred and you are sacred and it's important. And so I think that's so beautiful. And I get the pleasure of like knowing you and Mars in a real physical space. And he's such a brilliant little boy and he's so sweet. And I can totally see him just wanting to do everything that you do. So that's really sweet to hear that. So I feel like I want to just like take us back a second because we like jumped to motherhood. And that was kind of the idea of the conversation was like going from like van lifer. And I love that we encapsulated like freedom because it feels like if we were just to say this to anybody, like, oh yeah, I went from living in a van and having no time constraints and whatever, adventuring and having so much fun, to being a mother and now just like purchasing a house, like spoiler alert, purchasing a house. A lot of people would be like, whoa, that sounds like you just left your freedom, So I love that we like totally boiled down the nature of freedom. The root, really, I think the taproot of freedom is just your choice to choose in every moment. Like no matter what the external world is around us, like you still have that freedom of choice in every moment. So I really love that we touched on that. That felt really deep to this whole conversation. And so maybe can you take us through a little transition of like going from van life to then I think you stepped it up to like a bus, right? First, you guys were living in the bus for a while. Yeah. So can you chat about that next phase? I feel like you've upgraded the space and size.
Absolutely. So Corey and I broke up. So you got to end that chapter.
Yeah.
We broke up in 2019. And I came back to York, Maine, where I grew up and was living in what I called a she shed. It was a converted chicken coop on my family's land. And it was a really interesting transitional time to go from 7 years of this like amazing high speed. Well, not high speed. We were only going like 50.
Yeah, they don't go too fast.
Yeah, what I mean by that is that there is so much life experience when you're living on the road. There's so many new experiences being thrown at you. So there's a lot to this. There's a lot of life happening. It's like packed in to like just sitting at home at my parents' house. And I'm like, what am I going to do? So I had previously, long story short, fallen in love with this man named Nolan that I met in California while Corey and I were traveling. And our relationship blossomed and really grew at that point. And he came to Maine for a winter. That's when we conceived our son. And we also, at the same time, got the idea of getting a school bus. And I was still kind of stuck on like full-time traveling, like let's convert this school bus and like maybe I'll find some remote work and I'll continue living the dream because I wasn't quite ready to give that up. And so we got the school bus and of course everything takes longer than expected. It took so long to build the bus. It took a long time. Like a bus is hard to build because there's so many custom angles and it's like a very unique space to create. And Nolan is an incredible carpenter and it still took a while. So what I thought would be like a 3-month process was like a couple of years on and off because we were working, we had a baby and then it was about 1.5 years ago, we got in the bus full time and we did the coast of Maine and we spent about 2 or 3 months in it. And we're like, we actually are better off being a little bit more grounded right now. We didn't have an income stream that was enough to survive. So we're like, we need to establish some cash flow and some sense of groundedness, especially with having a toddler. It's a different story on the road for sure when you have a little one. And he was right at that age where he was testing boundaries. well, he still is, but really wanted to like push all the buttons, and like it was constant watching him. We didn't really have a space that was like fully where he could be free. So we decided to go up into the Maine mountains, and Nolan would timber frame, and we would live there for a little while. And we have been here for a year. We just bought a house, so we're liking it enough to stay a while.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, that was one of my questions. Me and Courtney were chatting a little before. She's like, "So did you have the baby in the bus?" I was like, "I don't know."
Wanted to, honestly. That was like the aim. I'm like, I want to make this bus and have this like bathtub inside of the bus, and like have the baby in the bathtub in the bus, and like in the forest in the middle of nowhere. It's not
but also like wild and magical though too.
Yes.
It's like, that sounds so dreamy.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
It sounds so dreamy, but I really believe like things kind of like when we're following our intuition and really paying attention, things do play out like as they are meant to.
Yes.
And it would have been really hard to have had the birth with my son in the bus. Ended up at a birthing center in Charlottesville, Virginia, and it was a super long birth, and we had traditional midwives helping. No interventions, but I don't think I honestly would have been able to do it without them there holding space for me.
Yeah.
So if we had birthed in the bus in the middle of nowhere, I probably would have gotten too scared and transferred to a hospital, and probably would have had a C-section. And that would have been like a whole different start to his life. So we were exactly where we needed to be for the birth, and I'm kind of glad the bus took a while to get finished.
Yeah. I like that though, like trusting the timing of the life, like things are happening in the moment as they're supposed to. I'm curious, is Nolan quite intuitive as well? Is he very tapped in?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I feel like we all are when we take the time to be. And
yes, 100%.
We're both in like a real life working mode where it's like I'm not self-reflecting a lot, or not like sitting and meditating every day like I would like to be. Nolan is a very intuitive person. He's working super hard timber framing during the week, and Nolan's an incredible sound healer.
I'd love to meet you guys the next time I'm in Maine.
Oh yeah.
I'm a sound healer too.
Oh, you are? That's awesome. We'd love to connect with you.
Yeah.
He plays the didgeridoo and the African drums and the guitar and anything that makes a sound. He plays, and
cool.
Yeah,
there was an impromptu sound healing at Mars's birthday party last week, correct?
Yeah, he did play the didge there. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, he rocked it.
Yeah.
The power of sound, like, it's so deep, and it's, we're 70% water, so sound just amplifies with the water. So it's such a deep, reverent type of thing.
What instruments do you play?
I use the bowls, I use the bells, I sing to my clients, and I'm actually headed to go deeper into sound healing. So I've just done this just from my own intuition, but I'm going to go take a course in Boston just to learn more ancient wisdom and just expand and grow with it.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm excited. I'm super excited.
That's awesome. Really exciting. Do you offer anything in person?
I do. Yeah, I do. And I even do distance healing as well. So what I like to do, I do a lot of guided journeys. So I'll take people on a journey with sound, with my voice, with channeling, and I bring you to your sacred realm, and your higher self may come in, your ancestors may come in. Always, we never know what's going to happen. It's whatever your energy is presenting. But I have some really beautiful sessions of just getting people connected within their body, connected within their soul, to hear what the soul wants, like to help them on the journey and see their like full potential.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
This is just sort of like impromptu, but like next time you do come to Maine Court, it maybe would be cool to set up something like a guided session, but like maybe like I or Jonah or somebody watches the kiddos. Like we take the kiddos so
Mm.
that the adults could sit and have like so both like
Yes,
you and
totally.
Nolan and maybe whoever else would want to come join. Anyways, just a little thought.
Yeah.
I was
Love that.
thinking,
Thank you, that.
yeah,
Totally.
I
Gotta
thought
help
it would
the
be really
parents out.
cool.
Anytime I treat parents, I am like,
Yeah.
I am here for you. I am here so you can have time for self. Because like you said, you do lose time when you're bringing a life in. You are now trying to mold and let this child be itself, but also it's time constraining. So I'm all here for like giving time to parents.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I feel like that was one of the most like awakening aspects of having a child and becoming a mother was like, oh my goodness, like I get it. And I feel for like all of the mothers, like and all of the fathers. And it is the most like divine, beautiful, and challenging work that there is, in my opinion. And
Mm.
I want to like be there to support too, because I had so much support through like the birth and through postpartum. And I feel like I couldn't have done it by myself, really.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I know
Wow.
I probably could. I believe in my power to do that, but I felt really supported.
It's
And
nice having that. I mean, but it's beautiful having that support.
Yeah.
Curious for you, just a little side note. We were chatting with another healer, and she had mentioned to me like 40 days postpartum. You are so open. So you being, very connected to your higher self, your intuition. Well, was that a very heightened experience for you postpartum?
yes, so I honored, yes, it was definitely like heightened and very raw and vulnerable feeling. Yeah. I'll back up a little bit because it's kind of funny, but going into birth, I'm like, I'm going to have an orgasmic birth because I know that's possible. And I believe in my body and I am very in tune. I can do this. Well, it was like totally the opposite of an orgasmic birth. And it took me some time to recover. Like it just, I was knocked out. Like I was like, it just broke me open in so many ways. And so I honored the 45 days, I think I honored, where I barely left the house
Mm.
and I barely left the room. We were staying at Nolan's mom's house in the city. At the time, she was renovating her house, and there was no bath. There was like no bath. There was a toilet, but there was no shower or anything. So it was like very uh, challenging of a time. And yeah, I want to go back to like the Ayurveda wisdom that came in at that time because I learned that when a woman gives birth, when the baby leaves, there's an excess of air and ether elements in the womb naturally, right? Because it's like stretching and growing and getting bigger and being filled by this body, and then the body leaves, and so there's space.
Mm-hmm.
And when there's space, air fills it. So there's literally more air in the system. And that can be one reason that a woman then moves into postpartum anxiety and depression, because that imbalance moves through the deeper tissue layers.
Interesting.
So I did my best to balance that and compensate for that through the food that I was eating and through oil massage and steam therapy and different things. Yeah. So that really helped me. And I do remember being at about 4 weeks, maybe, or maybe 4 weeks. Yeah. Where I was like walking around town slowly, still like honoring where I was, but like feeling good and like feeling like really radiant and really connected
Mm.
to my son and like God. And yeah, it was really cool. Yeah.
You
So
keep talking about honoring, and that is such a important factor in our lives, is to honor ourselves. Because like you said earlier, we have to make sure we're filled up in order to help and serve others too. Because it is a beautiful gift to be able to help and serve others. But are we honoring selves, or are we, doing things just, because it's been told to do it for this person? But honoring self is just like, that's beautiful gift that you gave to yourself and continue to.
yeah, thank you. I want to, through my Ayurveda work, to bring this knowledge to other women, all the way from like prenatal and fertility all the way through postpartum, and just share the learnings that I've had and the ancient practices that are there for us to support us as we transition into motherhood.
And you're sharing this through Instagram. Is that what you're doing now?
So I have two handles on Instagram, and one of them, the Radiance Mama, is focused on that. It's a little bit inactive right now, but I have partnered with my mentor, and we are working to create online courses and online education and inspiring content to help women. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's I feel like it's needed.
1,000%. It is this ancient wisdom that has been lost because, we've given away our power and stuff. But now there is such a reclamation of coming back to self, of honoring self, because people are realizing what that does. So, and to help fellow women and, helping men finding their men, women finding their women, and then coming together and creating divine masculine and feminine energies. Oh, it's such a beautiful, when we have the gift of Gad, the gift of wisdom to share it, because there's so much ancient divine wisdom that people are just lighting up when they hear. And when you light up, when you hear that, you're meant to hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Good luck with sharing.
It's easy to not prioritize that right now because of being a stay-at-home mother, and I do want to continue to share, and I don't want to hoard the knowledge that I have because I know it can help a lot of people.
Definitely can. I'm excited to tap into it when that phase hits me, hopefully soon. I'm excited to tap into that. Yeah, I have understanding of Ayurveda, but it is such a complex system, and I think that's so cool that you had this beautiful initiation, or portal invitation into it through your own journey. I think that's always the best way to attain knowledge that really seeps into this, pores and cells of your body so that it just flows out without hesitation. You know it on that cellular level now, where it almost makes you the master because you've lived it, in a way.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's really beautiful. So I'm excited to tap into that wisdom someday.
Absolutely. I'd love to share everything that I know. And
thank you for tuning in to Collecting Consciousness.
We're so grateful that you've been on this journey with us so far.
And we look forward to seeing where we are going to expand, curate, and collect.
So if you haven't already liked, subscribed, or shared our content, and you feel called to do so, we would so deeply appreciate it. From our souls to your soul, and our hearts to your minds. We are collecting consciousness. Heck yeah.
I feel like it's Ayurveda that I feel like helped me consciously conceive.
Wow.
Because it made my system so clear and so strong through focusing on the digestive system and then building the tissues with the right nourishment and really aligning with the seasons. I was so crystal clear at the time of conception that I knew the moment we would conceive.
Wow.
And it felt like a portal was opening up and his soul was dropping down in. And I'm like, oh,
that's insane.
I feel like there's an opening, and I could sense that, and I could sense it because I was so clear and
clear. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
I feel that.
That's
beautiful. Clear channels. The food that we eat, the content that we're consuming, the sleep that we're getting, the movement, the elements that we're experiencing. These are all beautiful ways, guys, to our viewers. These are beautiful ways to open yourself up, to chant, to be a clear channel. We all are divine beings. We can all tap into these gifts, and it's really finding those ways for you. But simple things of just really connecting to the body, the digestive system, the sleep, the exercise, that movement, all very important factors. I'm curious about your initiation into the Ayurvedic. Can you give insight for us?
Yeah. So you want to know where
it began for you? Yeah.
Of course. So when I was traveling in the van, what's happening and that I understand now is that there's an excess of air, the excess of ether. There's a lot of high vata, if you're familiar with the doshas, because there's so much motion. You're traveling in a vehicle, on wheels, you're moving your body so much outside, you're in different places, there's so much variability. And when that occurs in excess, it begins to affect the digestive tract, and that can mean constipation, that can mean variable elimination, that can move deeper into the tissues and lead to anxiety, insomnia, dry skin, which can cause chronic or acute issues down the road. And that was happening to me on occasion, like on and off as I would travel. And I was aware, like, hey, this is pretty imbalancing. Like, I have emotional instability, and like, oh, I haven't eliminated for a couple of days. Like, very clear to me. So I was naturally just drawn to the healing arts from before that. And I connected with my yoga teacher, Carly and Zaplin of Mahavidya, and they were having a 200-hour yoga teacher training in Hawaii. So I signed up for that in like 2016 and dove into yoga for a month with them. And Carly is an Ayurvedic practitioner, and she studied in Nevada City in California. And she has been practicing for, I want to say, like 15 or 20 years. And so she wove that into yoga training. And so I understood at that point just the basis of Ayurveda and the 5-element theory and the law of similarity and dissimilarity and like the foundational theories that Ayurveda is based upon. And I saw how that applied to Vanlife and how that applied to my yoga practice. And I began to make changes on the road. I paid more attention to my surroundings, and I noticed like the climate that I was in and how I was feeling as a reflection of the environment, and how I was feeling internally as my own imbalances or balance, and what I could do. So, for example, after traveling for a day, like I would take time and ground with oil, because traveling, you're bringing in like a sense of lightness and dryness and roughness. And then when you stop and land somewhere, balance can be created with the opposite of those qualities. So I would bring in like an unctuous sesame oil to my feet. And I would start cooking with like digestive spices to help increase my agni or digestive fire and help process the food that I was taking in. And how we do one thing is how we do everything, right? So when I focused on my digestive system, I was better able to process life happening, being broken down on the side of the and having like different emotions and meeting different people and having these like social events and like working on a canvas farm. There's just so much happening. And I was better able to process it when I focused on the root of our health, digestion. And so that's where like Ayurveda began to become woven in and began to be lived in these small incremental ways. And then when I quit Vanlife, Carly, my teacher, was partnering with an Indian doctor, Dr. Amruta Athali in Pune, India. And she created this 500-hour professional Ayurvedic online training. And so I said, like, yes, I definitely want to go deeper into this. So as soon as Vanlife was over, I dove headfirst into Ayurveda, meeting every week for it's like a year and a half or 2 years with a small group of people and this awesome Indian teacher, and just like learning very like clinical Ayurveda. And I'm still learning. Like the more I learn, the more I realize there's to learn. But it's a really beautiful system that can definitely help healthy people maintain their health or optimize their health, and also help people bring about balance and heal.
And ownership, it feels like, too, like taking the power of like truly connecting to what it is that you need.
Absolutely. I feel like Ayurveda is great because it gives us a true definition of health. And if you Google what is the definition of health, you'll see it says the absence of disease. And that's what our system here in America is like based upon. Like Okay, so what does that actually mean? In Ayurveda, they say it means you have a peaceful mind, you have healthy elimination, you have healthy tissues, you have good sleep.
It's all like the reframing too, like putting the concepts in the mind, hearing that, you know, I am healthy, like that. I really like that.
See yourself well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First step for sure. Yeah. See yourself well. Know what are you aiming for, and feel
It's
that.
you've said it kind of twice now, and it's you know, being able, you know, going into van life and experiencing things at such a like intense level, you know, like that heightened frequency. Do you find that you are so much better equipped with dealing with stress that you can tap into your system and be like, okay, cool, I actually need to really slow down? Or can you, like, do you feel like you could see the big picture when you were tackling chaos?
Yes, yeah, for sure. And that's why I feel like I'm still free, is because I can see that, hold that awareness and see the big picture, and not that like every action is perfect. And I do sometimes feel stress, especially when like I may have not slept well the night before and I am operating from more of a deficit, energetic deficit, then it becomes more challenging. But I do have the tools that I need to like shift my nervous system and ground in. And it's literally as simple as like right now, I'm releasing my pelvic floor and I'm softening my belly and I'm relaxing my shoulders and I'm moving my tongue. I'm making saliva and I'm swallowing my saliva.
What's the purpose of that, the saliva bit?
Well, when you're in a parasympathetic operating mode, when you are resting and digesting, when you're calm and peaceful, you make saliva. Your juices flow.
Cool.
And so if you can create that, and if you swallow that, you are signaling to your autonomic nervous system that you're safe.
Oh my God, thank you for that insight. I mean,
Yeah, that's cool.
That's in my brain now. That's core.
So simple. Like my daily goal is like salivate, drool every day.
Jewel.
Well, you know what? I don't think I have a problem with that. Every night I wake up, my pillow it's got so much drool. TMI.
Because you're relaxed. You're so relaxed.
Yeah.
You are so relaxed. That's amazing. I love that. We're gonna just drool over life, really.
Yeah.
We're just gonna drool over life. There's nothing else to do. I
Drool
love.
over life for life.
Yeah, that was so beautiful. I'm like, I just love everything you just said. Yeah, just
Yeah, it makes me want to learn more about it.
oh yeah.
Yeah, we can go deeper. What do you want to? What do you want to do?
She's like, we can go deeper.
Okay, so if we want to, okay, so we could always come back and do another episode for sure. I feel like on this, but I'm also curious just to go a little bit deeper, and because Bethany, because what are your intentions? Like, you know, the van.
I'm good. I'm good. I told Emily this is going to be organic as always.
Yeah. Okay,
like,
cool.
I know where it was going to flow because, you know, it's always like Pandora's box when you just start playing with somebody. And then, yeah, it's beautiful. I love this. Yeah. So
okay. Well, yeah, I mean, words. Okay, so for people wanting, you know, people wanting to take ownership and get connected to themselves, their bodies, and know the signs, the symptoms, the dry skin, the lack of saliva, where would be a really good start for people on this journey?
I feel like, of course, I'm going to say one-on-one, I feel like is the best way. Working with an Ayurvedic practitioner or health advisor one-on-one and really understanding your unique constitution, how you are made and what your unique needs are and any imbalance, what that means in your system. And then working with basic diet and lifestyle shifts slowly. And that could mean something like if I were going to just share something that could support everybody, that would be like, okay, we're in the fall season here and it's rough and dry and cool. So bringing an oil massage to the system really supports the nervous system and really helps you feel a sense of ease and flow. It increases circulation. It helps recovery from working out. It increases the digestive fire. It's calming and grounding and helps your skin look radiant, takes care of any dryness that comes with like turning the heat on. And we have this like propane wood stove now in the house we just bought, and super dry. And so dry. I just feel like they're going to fall off. So bringing in oil. And the only contraindication would be if like somebody is has too much toxicity in the body. And I feel like that would be if they're experiencing like extreme lethargy and they're very overweight, and then I would kind of be hesitant to suggest that. So it's about it's why I say it's so good to work one-on-one, because there are so many, well, this works for a lot of people, but not, like
it's subjective. People
different. Overall, oil massage is really, really great. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And oiling before you take a shower, actually.
Really?
Yes, because the steam helps open up the pores, and the skin has its own process of transformation. So it's almost like you're eating the oil and you're bringing it into it. And when you have the element of the steam, it supports that process, and your skin will feel really, really amazing. And thank you.
And then afterwards, you don't need to put more oil on. Just before. Okay, cool. Doing that. I'm going to do that.
I don't wash it off. Like I don't wash with soap. I might take a washcloth and kind of just like get a little bit of the excess off. And I do dedicate a couple of towels for oiling towels, so that I'm not destroying all of the towels, because eventually they'll just be tossed out. And that's kind of the process.
Right. And so you had mentioned earlier that you use like a sesame oil. Are there different oils that people can use, often keeping organic, I'm assuming?
Yeah, organic is best for sure. And it depends on the individual.
Okay.
So it really does. Overall, in the autumn, sesame oil is pretty good for everybody.
Okay.
In the summer, coconut oil is mostly good. Yeah, for everybody.
And so what would be that transition? You say for going into the fall, the oil is a really good thing to do. What are the things in the summer that people could do for themselves?
Well, in the summer, let's think about the summer. What qualities are in nature?
Hot, heat. Yeah. Heat, warmth.
New plant life.
Yeah, it's like moist and hot usually.
Moist. I was gonna say moist, but I was like,
okay, yeah. The humidity.
Yep.
Does the air feel light or heavy?
Heavy.
Yeah.
I think it feels heavy to me.
I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
Kind of when you go out and it's like hits you in the face. Yeah.
Right.
When you go out and the air just like hits you in the face, you're like,
yeah. Because in the winter, the wind, the cold feels refreshing, and the heat, and so the heat is like stuffy.
Yeah, it can definitely be like heavy and oppressive and humid, especially if you live in a place that's really humid. Definitely heat. Heat is definitely the main aspect of the main quality of summertime, and so we actually have less digestive capacity in the summer, and that we feel intuitively like we're kind of hot. We don't want to have this big heavy meal. We are digestive
you don't want soup.
Like no soup So one thing to do is to eat easy to digest light foods, which actually surprisingly doesn't mean a cold smoothie or a salad. Those are harder to digest, which I think is something that we are confused about here in America. Having like a room temperature, easy to digest smoothie, like dates and water and cardamom. Cardamom is a really awesome spice that is cooling to the system, but also supports the digestive fire. Mm-hmm. That can be really lovely in the summer. Eating what is provided by nature at that time is the heart of Ayurveda, essentially, because we're tuning so into Mama Earth, and we are receiving what she is giving us and knowing that it is exactly what we need.
Yeah, it's like the natural way of living, going back to, ancient times, going back to like time, not in the modern day living. It was very living in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, connected.
Yeah.
And eating the cucumbers that are growing in the back that are cooling, and having mint water in the summertime.
Yeah, watermelons. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I love Ayurveda, is because it's simply reconnecting us to the rhythms of the earth right here and helping us realign and remember.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So like paying attention to what's here, looking around, and eating the spring greens, eating those bitter greens when spring comes, because that actually helps break up the phlegm and mucus that's gathered and accumulated through the winter. So when the earth warms up, like things get flowing and we get mucus, and having those spring greens, the dandelion greens, right when they pop up, it's very helpful. I think I'm needed.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, needed. Hi. Hey, little Mars. Hi, buddy.
Okay. No, nice to see you.
Hi, you two. We're almost done. We're almost done.
No, no.
Hey there. Hi.
You want milky? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, real life mama.
Motherhood.
Mama.
That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah. Real life mama and choosing in the moment. I love it.
He wants both.
That's funny.
Okay.
Good. He knows what he wants.
He knows what he wants. Yeah, he is definitely he knows.
Oh.
Never not known.
While we're on the topic of breastfeeding, just naturally, so he's 3 and you're still breastfeeding. Like what is your process of making that decision? I'm just curious, from that whole conundrum that I think every woman might go through that breastfeeds.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like assuming.
Really great question. Yeah, I from the beginning have been trusting his timing. From pregnancy. I'm like, I trust your timing. I'm not going to rush you in birth. Like, I trust what you need to do. And when he was born, we realized he had a short umbilical cord. And so one of the reasons that it took a long time to birth was that he was taking his time. Like, it took a lot to navigate through the canal. This is what the midwives are saying. And that he really went at the pace he needed to go at, working with me in that way. So I have not rushed anything.
Wow.
I'm going with the flow, and there are moments where I feel like my cup is cracked. I'm like, how can I fill up a cracked cup? I'm a little tired. But overall, I have pretty great energy and stamina, and so we're growing in that direction slowly, and nothing needs to be too like harsh is how I feel. And
yeah, I like it. Letting life flow to you, like letting the things just happen. Again, kind of going back to nature's rhythm. That's what it seems like. Very, very rhythmical of just allowing.
Yeah,
I love that trust. Like, you just like the deepest level are just like you're like, it was re-solidified through the birthing process. That was almost the message that was like, affirmed. Like, okay, I trusted you. And then the midwives imparted that knowledge of the umbilical cord. And you're like, okay, so that was like exactly the message of this birth or this like pregnancy or what I need to be doing. And so I love that you're just leaning into that so hard. With it seems like every decision, which is really beautiful. And yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
breastfeeding is an incredible journey. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's miraculous that we can grow a human and then the milk is so intelligent as well. It comes through and it gives, like, our bodies can create the antibodies and the things that they need, like, day to day, just picking up from what their like our skin contact is experiencing and their saliva is giving us. Like it's in we are miraculous humans. Like, it is literally mind blowing.
It's so
Yeah.
incredible. Yes, if a young one falls and bumps her head, there's saliva signals to the breast to produce
Oh my gosh.
anti-inflammatories for the brain.
Whoa.
So it's like magical.
That's so cool.
Science is just being like, hey, look at how magic everything is.
Yeah, legit.
Yeah.
Also, like another thing that's like the first, when you hurt yourself, what's our first immediate action? To touch ourselves. We're literally putting our hands on to heal in that very moment.
Yeah. We all have that power.
We all are our own healers, truly. We all are powerful beings.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of the bees. Like the bees are also one of the most
network.
intelligent wild like species, that can just like flip sexes of their baby and the little
that's crazy.
process, like just depending on the hive and the need. And it's like that to me is just like, whoa, like that feels alien, technology that's on Earth. But it almost feels like we have that capacity too. I mean, we just dumb it down, or we have dumbed it down for whatever reason so much that, well, I think we try to
logically rationally try to
not sure what the word is, but I think we try to just boil it down to like science, and sometimes it's just way bigger than that.
Trusting that there's something bigger than you and I combined.
It's so beautiful. So okay, as it appears, like maybe we should wrap up and just that you give back like life. And I'm so grateful that we had this conversation. I already adored you. I enjoy hearing your words every time you speak and the messages that you have to offer. And we'd love to have you back on again. But is there anything in parting that you would like to share, encapsulating any bit of the conversation, really?
Or the wisdom that you'd like to get out to help others, because I know that's important for you.
Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to use my voice and share my story on here. And if there is a takeaway for folks, it's to get outside and pay attention to what's happening and get really curious and get sunshine and move your body. And remember that you have the power within you to choose how you feel, and that you are a divine being. The only reason that you might feel differently is because you think differently. And to just know that you're loved, and you can live your dream. If you really want to, you can create it, and what you focus on will grow.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Emily. That was beautiful and so well said.
Thank you for having me.
We'd love to have you back. If there's anything that's on your heart, if you want to expand more on Ayurveda, like we would love to have you back. And I just want to re-highlight for people where to find you.
Oh, yes. I would love to come back. Yes. I want to keep chatting. It's so fun.
Right?
Folks can find me on Instagram at Where's My Office Now, or on my other Instagram, The Radiance Mama. And that's YouTube is Where's My Office Now. And I am in the works of creating an online digestion and gut health for Vanlifer course.
Cool.
So stay tuned for that.
Good luck with it all. And we look forward to having you on again.
Thank you so much, Courtney. Bethany, have a great day.
Bye, Emily.
You too. Bye.